when you've taken a look at what's happened and having a good half and a bad half the past couple of games, and against Louisville, what do you say are the issues? What have you guys identified that, this is really the killer for us?
Well, the hard part is it hasn't really been a chronic one thing. You know what I'm saying? We've had some kind of inopportune or unfortunate things happen at critical times. Had the penalties, on the first drive of the game. We have a really long drive against Virginia Tech, and we have 2 penalties back-to-back as we're driving, getting down there in the red zone. And those ended up being killers for us on that drive. You have a couple drops in this last game. You have a couple just missed throws. We have a little bit of an unfortunate deal happen have a nice drive going to start the game against Pitt, and we have the fumble from kind of an unfortunate deal that happened there protectionally. So it hasn't really been a chronic, one thing. So I think just the message to our guys and our staff is, listen, we gotta understand that we gotta get back to doing kind of the common things at a higher rate. You know what I'm saying? Like just our routine plays, the strain and all that stuff, the effort has been unbelievable. I mean, the will to win that you saw in this previous game was inspiring to watch, from our players. But I just think it's kind of the routine things. We just got to make sure that we're really, really consistent in doing that at a high rate. I mean, that's the ultimate message.
What do you attribute to the drops last couple games?
I mean, I think always drops comes down to focus, right? I mean, usually if you're a receiver, you're trying to go ahead and think about your move when you catch the ball and just those things. So I've been a receiver coach. I know, ultimately, those drops usually come down to focus.
I guess, again, when you say that the effort's not a problem, the strain's not a problem, that there's issues of focus, so there's things, lapses, I guess, and penalties. How do you address that? How do you get players to get back to doing the fundamental things?
We stress it all the time, and we've been, we've had flashes and stretches throughout our season where we've been really, really good at those things. So I think it's just still trying to create with some young people that are playing for us offensively that, hey, as the course of the season goes on and the grind kind of gets real down the stretch you got different distractions going on that just kind of happen at the end of the year. And I think for a lot of our guys, this is kind of the first time they're experiencing some of those things, first season and all that. But, it's just kind of the same message every day is like we got to continue to do those things at a high rate. And so sometimes you just got to go through that as young players especially.
What do you think y'all could have done in the second half in particular against Pitt to take advantage of some of the one-on-one opportunities in the passing game?
Yeah, listen, you always have hindsight's always 20/20. There's been a lot of things when just in my young career where we've had a really, really great output offensively, scored 50 points, 500 yards or whatever, and there's been a lot of times in those games I've come away disappointed with some things or things I wish I would have done better. So that's no different even with this game, obviously. So, yeah, I wish we would have attacked them more. It just kind of became that type of game. They did a nice job of kind of neutralizing the run game and kind of bottling up Phil in a way. So it just kind of became a game where we probably needed to do that more. So that was the biggest, regret is not going after him a little bit more.
How much did the OL injuries kind of impact you guys in the second half against Pitt?
Hey, those guys, listen, they did, obviously there's a lot of things we could have done better. And, I wish we could have done better there, but those guys gutted it out and we found a way. I haven't really been a part of that where you had so many moving parts up front and some drastic changes of where guys were in a span of one play. So yeah, there's always some things that it probably maybe hindered us a little bit because of that, but man, hats off to them because that was a heck of an effort by those guys up front.
Last year and even the start of this year, we've heard the conversation about encouraging Cade and Cade's development and taking what's being given. And I feel like that 50-yard touchdown, hearing him talk about what he saw, that's another one of those examples. Just to see that and to see him get rewarded in such a massive way. Just how beneficial is that for his continued development and for your team to see?
I mean, it just builds confidence. I mean, those sort of plays, listen, he's made 2, kind of career plays for him thus far at Clemson the last 2 weeks, and plays that we'll always remember with Cade Klubnik. Like, he's made 2 of those in the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, obviously that's going to build your confidence, and then just to finish that way for him, for us as a team offensively, and the kind of day we were having to gut it out and find a way there at the end in a 2-minute situation with 0 timeouts. I mean, that's one I'll never forget, that's for sure.
Dabo talked about how big those wins are, and your team said after the game, like, nobody doubted that you were going to. So that progress is there, I'm sure, even in the time you've been here, of just that confidence that they can go win those games. But in your experience and just big picture, like, how important and the impact of a win like that on these guys?
Coach hit it right on the head. I mean, when you win a game like that coming down to it, that probably you shouldn't have won, where things are going against you and it's unlikely down the stretch and all that. And to find a way to never lose the confidence, never lose the belief, like we truly felt that on the sideline as players, as coaches. And it's just hard to even describe, but it's special. And so when you find a way to win that, well, now all of a sudden you have this confidence and this belief moving forward that no matter what happens, we know we can find a way to go win this game. And that's kind of the reality that these types of games, brings to the table for us moving forward.
On the 4th-and-1 pitch-up play to Mafah, what would you see to kind of make that call? And Dabo said that y'all all kind of looking back on it, liked the call, but it essentially just kind of played better in that moment.
Yeah, we've been pretty good on some of these little 4th and shorts and stuff like that. We've had some, conversions, but some big plays this season on some of those situations. And so we had the call that we liked. He had kind of 2-way go. He had some options on what to do with the football, but it's a split-second decision, literally. And, the biggest thing is the defensive end really didn't chase like we thought, and we just weren't able to really outflank him with Phil. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it was disappointing in the moment, but it was certainly a call that we all felt good about.
Given he's gone after this year, how big could maybe this upcoming game be for getting some of those backups maybe a little bit more opportunity?
Yeah, really big. I mean, yeah, naturally gonna get a lot of reps, a lot of opportunity for those guys. But yeah, I'm excited to see him. From that position at running back and some of our other positions on offense. Really excited to see some of these guys get the green light and ready to roll.
Eziomume specifically, what about him?
Yeah, Easy's going to play. Excited about him. I mean, he's just kind of continued to get better as the year's gone on. Just kind of caught up with things mentally. But he's a physical guy that loves contact. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of those that kind of licks his chops to have some physical runs. So excited to see him, in a game environment.
And with hindsight being 2020, do you wish you'd gotten these guys some extra touches over the past month or so, considering Phil's workload, or is it just a trust issue? Or
no, I mean, I think no, it's not a trust issue. It's really not. It's kind of with the way some of these games have unfolded a little bit. It's a combination of that, But yeah, I mean, once we get through at the end of the year, and you're kind of really big picture in this thing, in this segment of our season, do I wish we would have got these guys a little bit more reps? Yeah, probably. But I also know that Phil's been really good and it's been productive for us. And the way some of these games have unfolded, it's been hard to kind of take him out at times too. But yeah, like I said, moving forward, ready to see these guys get in the mix.
How do you think Phil has handled the workload late in the year? Does it seem like he's maybe a bit worn down in some stretches?
I mean, he's a machine, like he really is. I mean, physically and mentally, he's been great. Like, I'm not really seeing a drop off or anything if that's what you're asking. I mean, this guy's he's built to last, and he's a special individual because of that.
I guess with Troy Stellato being out for the rest of the year, I guess which receivers need to step up to kind of fill the void there, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Cole Turner, Adam Randall, those guys continuing to get production for us and get snaps. Tink Kelly probably opens the door for him a little bit to really get in there and show what he can do. So, certainly excited to see him specifically in this game.
With the playoffs kind of in the back of team is keeping the guys focused on the game-by-game mindset rather than looking too far ahead?
I mean, it always starts at the top. You know, we got the ultimate leader that way that can keep you focused and dialed in. And you know, it's the same with me. I mean, we got a game this week, and we just got to keep our head down. I don't care who we play, and that's always the focus you're going to have and you need to have. And I think we've got a mature enough group as players that they truly understand that. That's not just us with coach speak. Like, I think we have a group of young kids, young student athletes that truly understand that.
I think it was last week on David Eziomume's radio show talking about TJ Moore impacting the game without the football. Just where have you seen him grow in that area, or what areas can he continue to grow as a player?
Yeah, I mean, he has grown, you know, really I feel like the last couple of weeks, just kind of the next level of strain without the ball, you know, whether it's blocking, whether it's running off, you know, whatever his assignment is. Like, I'm just starting to see that more and more consistently with him. And, you know, that's always a good sign to see from a receiver, a freshman, you know, a kid that's obviously special as a pass catcher, but doing some things away from the ball. I think he's starting to see that from the other people in the room. Like, he sees how Antonio plays without the ball. You know, he sees those older guys and how they're doing their job at a high rate that way without the ball. And so I just think he's starting to the light's starting to click, like, hey, you know, I have to do that. And, you know, you certainly have seen some growth that way with him.
On that note, just on the receiver blocking, how have you seen this group as a whole get better in that aspect?
All year. I mean, yeah, all year. That was a huge point of emphasis for us in the offseason leading up to the season. And, you know, the buy-in, the why, you know, I just think that's been a big point of emphasis for us as coaches as we went into this year, that group. And Coach Chris done a great job with them. And K-Rich with the tight ends, when they're displaced and they're out, you know, not in the core and they're actually lined up as a receiver, same thing. Like, that's a huge part of what we do. And, you know, our guys have bought into that.
On the idea of working off the ball, are you seeing guys coming in young, like, expecting that part to be more part of their game than you used? I just feel like we've been talking about that. And I mean, I've been in football like 15 years now, and like that, the conversation is a lot more obvious and loud. Do you see guys coming in expecting it, or are you surprised even that, like, it's still something you have to, like, sit these guys down and be like, you have to play off the ball at a different level?
I think it kind of just depends on where some of these kids come from, right? Like, what did they play in high school? Did they ever block in high school? Were they always on a route or always on an RPO, so they never blocked? Like, I think that's part of it, is kind of what they came from a background, high school background. You know, but I think just the more things are out there, just like anything, stuff that's out there on social media, stuff that they see on TV, like, I think just receivers are kind of programmed now, like, you better, if you want to advance at this game, like, you're going to have to be someone that's willing and, you know, to block and to be a factor in that area. So I think that's probably part of it too, is it's just kind of out there more, maybe like you're asking.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
Just with year two coming to a close, where do you feel like you've grown as a play caller within just this system specifically?
I mean, you always feel like you should get more comfortable and you know, better each year as a coach, whether you're the play caller or not. You know, but I would say probably the biggest thing is you know, really understanding our team, understanding what we have, our strengths and weaknesses. So that to me is probably the biggest difference from year one to year two, just for me specifically. Yep.
Senior Day celebrations this week. I know you guys do a lot throughout the week, and then obviously the moment on Saturday. As a coach who recently joined the program, you talked about, you know, so many conversations with older guys and all of that. Just what this group of seniors has meant and what these moments are like for you as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, they really are moments you kind of always remember, right? I mean, it's just a special day and a day to honor them and you know, for me being here now 2 years, like, this is the group that I know, right? And so we've had a lot of great moments already with that group. We've had some moments where it hadn't been so good either, so I've kind of been through it with those guys a little bit now. So, yeah, I mean, these days, I can remember a lot of senior days I've been a part of, so they're always special as a coach.
Coach, when you mentioned yesterday that non-offensive lineman route for Tuesday's practice, I guess how difficult was yesterday's practice for you and your staff with those injuries?
I mean, you have to have other guys kind of step up, you know, and then you got to adapt and adjust a little bit as coaches on how you practice and how you can kind of manage, you know, the load for the guys that are repping, you know. So that's always kind of the key, where you got to get them enough to get them prepared, but you got to be smart too to hopefully get them as fresh as possible to go play the game fast.
How good do you feel about freshmen like Mason Wade or Ronan O'Connell? They had to get in now. The depth is kind of completed on the line.
Yeah. I mean, those guys have been working, and you know, those guys have, you know, those two specifically, I've seen a lot of growth in just in this last month. You know, with the reps that they do get, the drills, just all the stuff that we do throughout a practice. Like, those guys have definitely gotten better. You know, and I think the confidence level just within the room, you know, just from a player standpoint, has grown with those two.
Anyone else for Coach? All right, Coach.
Okay.
Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Thanks.